So in main event, we have a few quick notes. We opened up with a really good, almost emotional promo from Dolph Ziggler, talking about how 2 years ago he won Money in the Bank. He ended up winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and he plans on getting back to that spot this Sunday, which I think all of us are in favor of.
Oh yeah, Ziggler, please win.
All of us are in favor of Dolph Ziggler winning tomorrow at Money in the Bank. This would lead into a 6-man tag match featuring all of the members of the Money in the Bank, excluding Dean Ambrose. So we'd have Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, and RVD going against Bad News Barrett, Jack Swagger, and Seth Rollins. Really solid match. Got to showcase all 6 guys. Really added momentum to all 6 of them going in. Ultimately, Rollins would get the win over Ziggler, I believe, for the win for his team. And then it would just kind of break down into chaos when everyone would beat the hell out of each other.
I know I wasn't paying 100% attention while that match was on TV, but the bits I saw were really solid, really well done.
He was busy doing homework.
I was. Homework for this show.
Yeah.
Fuck the work.
Indie homework. So ultimately, it was another good spot during the week leading up to the pay-per-view.
I like this guy.
Other things that happened on main event, we had the reunion again of Layla and Fandango.
Yeah.
By the way, can we say that Fandango...
Yeah, I'm so jealous of Fandango.
He's got the best job in the world right now.
On a weekly basis, he gets to make out with Summer Rae and Layla.
He's being paid to alternately swap saliva between Summer Rae and Layla.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of hot when you think about it now, because then if you take him out of the picture,
technically Layla and Summer Rae have made out.
That's hot.
Yeah. So Fandango would reunite with Layla. Oh. He'd come out for a match that
against Bo Dallas.
Yes.
Don't doubt me.
I had to doubt you for a second.
I watched it because
you need to
believe
in your co-host.
Yeah, believe in me.
I believe in you, Kevin.
Thank you. Are you gonna pay for my trip to Bolivia?
Nope.
Damn it.
Not a frit. No. I was trying to make a Bo reference. So yeah, Layla and Fandango ultimately on the same page would come back out. We'd have Fandango versus Bo Dallas. The bell would ring, but Summer Rae would walk out. Started making out with Fandango in the ring. Layla would attack. Fandango got kicked in the head. And no, I take that back. He did get kicked. Did he get kicked in the head? No, they ended up leaving the ring.
Yeah, they ran out of the ring.
Yeah, they ended up getting... That was on SmackDown. He got kicked in the head.
Bo Dallas gave him the running Bo Dog.
Yeah, the running Bo Dog, which would make him...
11 and Bo?
Is it
10 and Bo.
I think, yeah. Well,
10 and Bo or 11 and Bo?
He has the greatest streak in sports entertainment right now.
Yeah. Post in the comments.
Thank you, John Bradshaw.
Yeah.
I still can't get behind Bo Dallas.
I can, because
I can.
His gimmick is mocking John Cena. I firmly believe that.
We'll go over that in an NXT episode. One other thing that we had from main event, a challenge issued to the brand new team of Dust to Dust, Goldust, and Stardust.
Which, by the way, Stardust is also my new favorite wrestler. Him and Bo Dallas.
You didn't see his SmackDown promo.
No, but I don't care.
Stardust is great.
Fucking weird.
Stardust is
so
awesome.
is Goldust, though. That's the thing.
It's like the thing. You know what? Everybody loves Goldust, and now we have 2 Goldust.
You know what? We'll get back to this when we get to the SmackDown section.
Double Dust.
So we'd have Ryback go over the team of Xavier Woods and R-Truth, and they would issue a challenge to Dust, calling them painted up hermaphrodites.
Which I thought was a really big word for Ryback's vocabulary.
Yeah.
Also,
the fact that we really only know Ryback rules and Feed Me Born.
Also, the
And
politically correct activist side of me wants to point out that they're just cross-dressers. They're not hermaphrodites. Get it right.
Alright, so they issued the challenge to Stardust, and Cody and Dustin.
Cody and Codust.
Which is probably going to be accepted, and...
Probably going to be the pre-show.
No, the pre-show's Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They've announced that.
Well,
Daniel
they might
Bryan
have a match.
That'll be the match after the Money in the Bank contract match.
Yeah, cool down.
Yeah.
So
for the final thing, we had a promo from Roman Reigns, which would lead to Kane coming out
And what's her name taking her shoes off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently it was a rib.
If you have a foot fetish, you will love this promo.
I don't have a foot fetish, but she has really nice legs.
I have a Renee Young fetish.
He has a young fetish.
He likes young
Don't
girls.
take that shit out of context. You fuck.
It's because she does her backstage interviews without her shoes on.
Yeah.
I felt it was important to say that because I don't want to give our fans homework. Because that's mean. They're watching this show for us to tell them about wrestling.
Thank you, Thomas.
We're not going
We
to
still
make you
consider
guys search for stuff that we can easily tell you.
He's the good guy of the group. This promo would eventually break down. Kane would come out, attack Roman Reigns. Reigns would get the advantage. Kane would kind of back off and try to scare him with a pyro. And Reigns was just stand there.
Reigns wasn't him.
And it was pretty beastly. I think it was a good moment for Reigns. Made him look a little stronger going into
To me, Roman Reigns, without being the biggest guy in WWE, is the most intimidating guy in WWE.
Yeah. I'm excited to see more from Roman Reigns.
Yeah, me too. He's a good guy.
Yeah. So, moving on to NXT.
Woo! This is my favorite WWE show out of the week, by the way.
Like we said last week, NXT is a favorite of all three of ours. We enjoy it every week.
They do some great stuff.
This week was
They
no
have
different.
Tyler Breeze.
We'll get to that in a second. This week was
He's
no
still
different. We had two debuts this week on NXT.
Yeah.
We had the first one was a guy that we've seen actually be a jobber at one point. Bull Dempsey debuted. You never seen him before?
I don't think I've seen Bull Dempsey.
He's really only been. I think he's been on a couple times. Like initially with NXT.
I may have not realized who he was.
That's probably what it was. Like the fact that he didn't have a spotlight at that point, you didn't really know. But Bull Dempsey finally got his character debut. Really annoying theme song, but a great strong man showing over Xavier Woods.
Yeah, really good, strong presence that he gave right from the get-go. As soon as he came through the curtain, he was there. He was on, and great acknowledgement from the commentary team about his style being kind of old school brawler, very Bruiser Brody-esque. He gives off that aura of the guy you don't want to screw with.
Yeah. And the icing on the cake for this guy here was that Bull Dempsey actually trained with one of his favorite indie guys, Eddie Kingston, the former grand champion of Chikara, and he would actually make reference to the last of a dying breed, and I know that was a great moment for you.
I marked out a little bit, and I really liked the crowd transition during the Bull Dempsey match, where when he first came out, the crowd was kind of, who the heck is this guy? Why is he important? And even, making fun of his little singlet that he's wearing, an old school style attire.
Yeah.
But
I actually thought it was kind of cool.
But, the crowd even at one point started chanting, "Put some pants on."
I didn't hear that.
But then right towards the end of the match, when he's getting ready to hit the big avalanche on Xavier Woods, the crowd really started getting behind him, chanting, "Bull, Bull, Bull." And then he hit that move, he hit his Northern Lights driver, or they call it the bulldozer, I think.
Yeah, the bulldozer.
Yeah. And then cuts his promo and was, kind of came in and said, "Who the heck is this guy?" and left over with the crowd.
Yeah.
So, referencing that he's trained with a great indie star. Speaking of that, I'm going to let you talk about the next debut because you love this woman.
Yeah, without getting into, way too much detail, because,
there's a very long, there's a storied history that leads up to this moment for this lady.
Yeah, Becky Lynch, who I know as Rebecca Knox, a great female wrestler from Ireland, who's basically making it to the big times for the first time. And great to see her debut after some of the trials and tribulations. She suffered basically what could have been a career-ending injury quite a few years back. And decided, WWE, for whatever reason, decided, this is a woman we want, and, good on her for this. But having her debut, I was super excited because she's great. When she came out, she was really high energy. I think they're going a little too much with the Irish gimmick.
That threw me off.
And at the same time, I feel like if you watch it, I feel like she was nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Did
why...
you get that feeling too?
Yeah.
I think that's why what she
not
did was rushed and
having-
repeated so much.
Yeah, having no context of who she actually was, watching her, I felt she was really great. And hearing you explain
Despite
who
the
she
fact
was...
that she's Irish.
Yeah, and, you know...
Yes, not just her attire was great.
She's
I was gonna throw that out there.
Just throw this, you know, she's been wrestling since she was about 14 or 15 years old.
Yeah, they mentioned
So-
15 on the commentary.
So yeah, I felt she was a rookie. That's the impression I got, not knowing who she was. She couldn't river dance for one, which
Yeah.
it was amusing, but then her match was really rushed, and it was like she's making a lot of rookie mistakes. Which now hearing who she was is probably because she was nervous, and maybe self-conscious about the river dance that they probably told her to do like 5 minutes before she went out.
So yeah, Becky Lynch would debut and win over Summer Rae, which was a furthering of the storyline where the BFFs.
Side note, I totally popped for a chick who won with a capture suplex.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
One of her trademarks when she was on the indies regularly.
There you go.
And if you want to see a great match, watch her Shimmer stuff.
Shimmer is great for any.
From the really early,
Any
because she
women
was
wrestling.
only in from Shimmer like 3 to 6 or something like that before she got hurt. So, you know, she's only made a couple appearances, but I think it's with Daisy Hayes. She has like a great 2 out of 3 falls match. That was just really fun
I think
to
we
watch.
watched that one.
Yeah.
So she would beat Summer Rae. This would further, issues between Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Summer Rae. Eventually, we know the beautifully fierce females. We know that eventually that's probably going to break down into a face turn for Charlotte. Moving on, we had a big man match. We had Big Cass, Queen's Finest, versus Sawyer Fulton.
Sawyer Fulton, a totally underutilized big guy on the NXT roster,
Yeah,
by the way.
he was
Yeah,
actually.
he's good.
Yeah,
This cat is a little weird in the head, but he's good.
Yeah, I appreciated his strongman style. He definitely did more than most enhancement talent do in a match.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Now
I loved it except for the finish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. See, I'm different. You told me about it before I watched it, and then I watched it, and I liked it better than the way you described it.
The finish was a big boot and a running elbow drop.
He booted Fulton in the face.
He did.
Which should have been, for me, that should have been the finish.
Yeah.
But he's got a. Come on. Do I have to spell it out for you?
No.
I'm gonna do it anyway. SAWFT soft. And then he jumped up, big ol' elbow, 1, 2, 3. He gets the win. I thought it was a great finish for Cass.
It was,
That- but
that
that's-
was a test style big boot.
What's
So-
wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with
Nothing's
the
wrong
boot.
with the big boot. It's the elbow drop that
Yeah, like he's
Slowed it down.
already out because of the boot. The boot killed him. Now you're beating
Overkill.
Now you're beating a dead horse
Overkill.
with an elbow drop.
Yeah, you're beating a dead horse.
The dude.
Sawyer Fulton was about as big as a horse, probably.
Post match, you get a celebration from Cass. He'd be, the
Living it up.
crowd's cheering back for him. Then all of a sudden, the music hits for the Legionnaires. We got Sylvester Lefort and what's the other guy's name?
Marcus Louis.
Marcus Louis. I can never remember his name because
I would have called him smaller Mark Chidrak.
he does look like Mark
Yeah.
Jindrak. Thank you.
Does
you'd
his
ha-
dropkick is good though?
Probably
no,
not.
Mark Jindrak has an amazing dropkick.
Back on the not Mark Chidrak.
Yeah. So Sylvester Lefort and not Mark Jindrak.
Kind of, they go to the side of the ring awkwardly,
Yeah,
like they're
it
about
was-
to run in,
Like
and
I feel like they should have split off, but I guess it wouldn't
Yeah.
have made sense for this. They start to almost like they're gonna corner
they
Cass.
veer to the side so they're on hard camera.
Yeah. And then we get the return of Cass's tag team partner Enzo Amore. The crowd is living it up. They're loving this moment. They literally recite, along with Enzo, his entire promo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice.
That was almost like watching the NXT rendition of like The Rock returning.
Yeah,
Or like the New Age Outlaws.
yeah. I got
their
a
whole
really
spiel.
Outlaws feel about it.
Yeah.
Like all the catchphrases, the whole shtick, everyone knows it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like when that Attitude Era person gets to
Yeah.
come back.
The
and
crowd Godfather.
Knows, the crowd knows the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was pretty fun.
it
to
was
watch.
really cool. It actually gave me goosebumps because
Yeah.
when they first got the team together, I didn't like Enzo at first.
Here's the thing, I'm not a big fan of Enzo Amore, but I
The
really,
dude's funny.
I really appreciated this moment.
Yeah.
And especially like thinking of how it probably felt for him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's been laid up with an injury for a while. Last time we saw him, he was rolling around in a wheelchair. He got to come back, and it looks like they're going to be running a tag team storyline. It'll be interesting to see what Enzo does now that he's back. I'm excited to see this team back together. I'm also kind of excited to see more of the Legionnaires, because we haven't really seen much from them.
Yeah, LaFour and Louis are very, very solid wrestlers. And
I know more about LaFour than
they train really hard to keep their physical conditioning at a peak level.
These two are beastly, and they're wearing really tight shirts.
And so I mean, they're very, very critical of themselves. So I think we can expect a lot of really good stuff out of these guys in the future. And it's one of the things I'm really appreciating about NXT is how heavy their tag team division is.
Yeah. Speaking of heavy tag team division, we'll move on
opening match.
to the was this the opening match?
I'm pretty sure it was the opener.
Wow. I don't know why I put it so far down in my notes, but we had a team that was obviously slated to be heels. But the VOD villains, Simon Gotch and Aiden English, they are so popular.
It's a great gimmick, and it was one of those things that Aiden English, definitely a heel, definitely booed by the crowd when he comes out and does this singing shtick.
Which I like.
Week in and week
William
out.
Regal loves it too.
I like it, except I feel like that's why Sandow doesn't get his gimmick anymore.
I always thought Aiden English would be a great tag team partner for Damien Sandow.
He looks like the love child of Cesaro and CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back. He didn't want people finding out.
Custody issues between him and Cesaro. Apparently Cesaro won.
And he was one of the heels on NXT, and I don't think he was getting over so well, and they wanted to do something with him, and they paired him off with a guy with another old-timey gimmick, Simon Gotch, the strong man in the circus-style gimmick, and he went from being kind of we sorta are with you kind of
we sorta get it,
to like, bam.
Yeah.
This pairing was perfect.
Yeah, and with the whole circus style intro that they do with the promo and the old timey
theme song with the video.
Yeah, it's great. It's entertaining. The Vaudevillains defeated T. Perkins and his tag team partner something Sugarman. I don't remember his first name.
Me either.
But they were a handsome guy.
Who was apparently a big fan of Bastion Booger, according to it.
Oh, good for him. But now, the Vaudevillains are something we're looking forward to seeing more of. But in true NXT fashion, they finished the show off with what I thought was a hell of a match. Definitely wasn't as good as it could have been maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, when they made the announcement last week that we were going to have Adrian Neville versus Rob Van Dam, the inner 12-year-old wrestling fan in me flipped the hell out. Because in my head,
RVD.
I was thinking like 2004 RVD against Pac, and I was like, oh, so many cool things they're gonna do. And then it kind of hits me, well, now he's Adrian Neville, he's a little bit more limited because of what WWE puts down on their guys, and RVD, of course, isn't 25 years old anymore, he's in his early 40s now, and a little less balanced, a little more uncertain of himself, I think. But he tries not to let it show. And they put on one solid main event for NXT.
Yeah. Okay, so when RVD was in TNA, he frankly just sucked. Then he came back to WWE and he upped his game. And I feel like when he came to NXT, he upped his game again. Like, because he was excited by all the new young talent who's going to be the future of the company.
Yeah, and to have him go against someone like Adrian Neville, a.k.a. Pac, Adrian Neville, whatever you want to call him, the man that gravity forgot. The name fits him perfectly. This man can do things that should not be plausible, but they are. And
I think it was something special because I think RVD saw this guy's talent and really wanted to give him the rub.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and RVD is not a selfish guy. there's no part of Rob Van Dam that says, "Oh, I'm in it for myself." RVD loves wrestling. He appreciates wrestling, and he put over Neville in a great match. Neville got a win over Rob Van Dam. How do you think that feels, being Adrian Neville, being so young, and getting the recognition from someone who's done just about everything they could in wrestling?
Probably the same way it felt for Cameron to commentate a match with Alicia Fox.
His inner 12-year-old was jumping up and down too. He's like, I just beat Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, probably.
His inner 12-year-old was jumping up and not coming back down.
Yeah, he's doing
Having
corkscrews
forgotten.
and shit.
Yeah, he's
Doing
like,
spin kicks and shit.
yeah, RVD, that's another guy who can hashtag spin kicks.
Yeah,
and shit.
spin kicks and shit. Yeah, some great spots. But what really accentuated the match is we had the #1 contender for the NXT Championship, Tyler Breeze, a.k.a. Prince Pretty, on
AKA
commentary. The King of Cuteville,
The Sultan of the Selfie.
the Sultan of Selfie.
Great stuff. The commentary is great. I don't want to go too much into the stuff he said. Watch it for yourself.
Yeah,
Find it on
get the
network.
W Network or Hulu Plus. Find it, watch it.
It's
great
good
match,
because
great commentary.
I feel like I don't want to try it too much because I can't do it justice.
Oh yeah.
Oh no,
It-
you can't. No, we are not.
Tyler Breeze is such a strong character.
Yeah, we are not Tyler Breeze.
And
Yeah.
his interaction with Renee Young, who is such a strong commentator, it was just brilliant. It was, dare I say, gorgeous.
No, it was at gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now our one final midweek note,
Oh, spoiler alert.
not WWE related. Yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled 4 weeks from now in TNA.
After you watch this, you'll probably have forgotten about it by the time it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Write it down.
Sorry, but I'm not sorry. They just recorded the Hall of Fame induction of Team 3D into the TNA Hall of Fame. They were out there with Tommy Dreamer and Dixie Carter's new acquisitions for TNA, Ezekiel Jackson and Gene Snitsky.
It is her fault.
Totally her fault.
Debuted and came out and beat them up, and can I say there's two guys we could give less than shits about?
If Snitsky came out and punted another baby, I would mark the fuck out for
They
him.
could probably get away with more on TNA too.
Yeah, if he came out and punted another baby, or if Brian Kendrick were still in
Yes.
TNA and you could have Ezekiel Jackson back him up again,
Yeah.
then maybe we'd be excited again. Maybe not, because that'd still be rehashing crap they've done on WWE.
Yeah.
But
At least Brian Kendrick would be involved.
yeah, someone talented.
So yeah.
Let's get this right. Ezekiel Jackson, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited am I to see him? Not at all. Snitsky, I like him a little better.
Yeah.
Needless to say, with Ezekiel Jackson's debut in TNA, you are just as excited as you are to see Sheamus in the Money in the Bank match this summer.
It's
Pretty
like
much. I'm a Sheamus hater.
it's like Rusev without the spin kicks and shit.
So boring.
Yeah.
So there you go.
He's like Big E without the talent.
Yeah. So there you go, TNA fans. That is your TNA snippet of the week. We can't bring ourselves to watch TNA, but if you
Sometimes we try.
if you really want us to watch TNA, post it in the comments. If you really want us to watch TNA, if you say you want it, we'll try to do it.
We'll try.
We'll try.
No promises.
We'll try really hard. And
I'm not
Before we
usually
get
home when
to
TNA's
SmackDown?
on.
yeah, and that is our recap of the midweek. Let's go back over to the indie section with Kevin Harmon.
Alright, my indie wrestler question of the week, where I go out to all my indie wrestler friends on Facebook, ask them questions, record the responses, and give them back to you guys, hopefully stuff that you guys might find interesting. My question this week was, what wrestler or match got you hooked on pro wrestling?
This is a good question.
Yeah,
This is usually something you always see in an interview with wrestlers.
Yeah.
So, first off, Davey Vega, I thought it was an interesting choice for a match. He picked the Caribbean strap match at In Your House between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Savio Vega.
That is one I'm not
And,
Very
you know,
familiar.
it I don't know, to me it's not that special of a match, but, you know, to each their own. And then he said for wrestlers, Stone Cold and Bret Hart were favorites of his.
Solid.
Evangelistico said Hogan versus Andre at WrestleMania 3. You know, and that was a big deal match.
It's a
when it happened.
WrestleMania one. We talked about that last week, talking about the Under the Giant War Battle.
Still going to WrestleMania stuff. Billy Rock from said that basically the Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff build up to WrestleMania 1 really got him like involved and into watching wrestling on a regular basis.
I actually watched that match on the network, and it was for something that had Mr. T, who wasn't a wrestler, it was actually it was a decent match.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I don't say that about Hulk Hogan match.
Darren Corbin, my fellow Ginger, said a match, no specific show that he could remember, but a match he saw when he was younger between Ultimate Warrior and Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, in a way that it really sets off the, that's the perfect definition of good versus bad in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior being that high pinnacle of good guy, and Ted DiBiase being the evil bad guy.
How he was never a villain in a movie, I have no idea.
So yeah, Bryce Remsburg says the Ultimate Warrior, because of the enigma that is the Ultimate Warrior. He's a guy who really captured the essence of that era and got a lot of people's attentions.
Oh yeah.
Going on to...
It's kind of hard to miss something.
One of my favorite stables around Ohio is for Killers. Jake Christ says Macho Man when he was younger, and as he was growing up, Rob Van Dam from the ECW era. And his brother Dave says the Macho Man and Hogan from the earlier era, which makes me think I wonder what side he picked when the Mega Powers collided at WrestleMania 5.
Yeah.
And then I asked Nebia as well, and she couldn't come up with a good answer. She said, I'm not sure. So, good for you.
That's your sister, right?
Yeah. And then Drew Gulak, a real wrestler's wrestler, if you've ever seen one, says Ken Shamrock. Which is an interesting choice. He's saying he'd been watching wrestling since he was 2 years old, and that was basically the first person that popped to his mind. So obviously, if it's the first person that pops to your mind, probably an influential person.
Yeah.
I can't say anything too much bad about that, because when I first started watching wrestling, me and my little brother loved Ken Shamrock. Like, Ken Shamrock was the biggest thing in his world.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing he didn't love about Ken Shamrock. And, for transitioning from MMA to professional wrestling, Ken Shamrock did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I had to answer that, I'd probably have to pick Steve Blackman and Ken Shamrock. Because that was the first match I ever saw, and I was hooked ever since. I don't know if there's anything significant about that match that hooked me, but it did.
Yeah.
And I love those two. Like...
Yeah, because you got the whole martial arts infatuation thing, too. That's your thing, so...
Yeah,
that helped. That probably really helped.
Adds to it.
Yeah.
The last person on my list, and I saved him best for last, in my opinion, because he's my favorite guy on the indies. I'm sorry, Johnny Gargano, you're probably like number 2 or 3. But the War King, the last of a dying breed, Eddie Kingston, the former Chikara Grand Champion.
I still can't believe you got an answer from me. That is so awesome.
I love Eddie Kingston. Said wrestler, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, a guy who was really charismatic and not the biggest guy ever, but man, he made up for it in the intensity of the ring. And then for match-wise, the Kobashi versus Kawada 60-minute time limit draws they did in All Japan Pro Wrestling. These are two guys who 4 times in the span of basically 2 years pulled off 4 60-minute time limit draws.
Ooh.
That each time
crap.
were different and kept the crowds...
That's...
I mean, they did one January 19th of 95. The next one was a week later, January 24th of 95. Then they waited until October of 95 to pull off the third one. And then they made it a year later at October of 96 to do number 4. So, I mean, 4 60-minute time limit draws, pretty intense for two guys to be doing this over and over again and still
That is-
keeping it fresh.
Yeah, to keep it fresh and keep the fans interested for 4 straight hours of wrestling, and to make each match different, but still go for an hour. God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is amazing.
But what better, that's proving to me Kingston a true student of the game. Picking those matches.
Oh,
I think
for
he posted one of those matches on his Facebook not that long ago.
I don't think I saw that.
I'm pretty
I'll
sure
go back
you
and
can
check that
find.
out.
I'm almost certain you can find all 4 of them on YouTube.
Check them out.
Yeah. So
If I can, I'll put links in the description.
with that being said, let's move on to Friday Night SmackDown.